Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Bitcoin. The price collapsing, everything looking grim, bear market, Bitcoin dead, the works on whenever Bitcoin starts to see any type of volatility downwards. And we can see this chart getting very crowded with lines. But basically, we had this ascending channel for a while where we were in, broke out of, ultimately this acted as resistance again, the channel itself, and now we're more in a downtrend here. You can see obviously from this point, tapped it again, and that's just where I drew that for now, and kind of sideways a little bit here, and then fell out of this range to fall under 42,500 here, about $1,000 below it right now too. So the next level would be like 39,631, something like that. And I think a lot of on-chain models have that as a floor. So if that breaks, then it would prove like their model wrong, you could say. But right now, looking to be in this channel, I don't think we'll be in it that much longer, because I think we'll probably break out to this right side here, sticking in this range. But we are seeing just broad market weakness across like financial markets in general. I mean, Chevron and Exxon are the only green ones here. Even all the indexes are down. Big companies down. I mean, Apple down 2.3%. That's ridiculous for Apple. They don't move like that normally. So I mean, it is very weakness in broader markets that carries over to crypto as well, and shows a little bit of weakness here too. So who knows how much longer we could be in this channel. Ultimately, I do want to see this kind of get back above 42.5 here and stay in this channel here, and not really drop lower, because then we start hitting floor models and then risking breaking that and going even lower. But that's short-term stuff. Long-term, nothing's changed with Bitcoin. This could be just volatility for broader markets, for how sentiment is in the market right now. You see we're on this downtrend that brings out the bears. They're out of hibernation again. They went into hibernation when we were in here, came out while we're going down. So once we start trading sideways or going back up, they'll go away again until a little bit more weakness comes out again at a higher price point. Probably to break out of this channel right here, we would basically need to today this channel's at 40, almost 45,000, so probably not going to happen. Probably going to break out closer to this intersection here, 42.5. And by breakout, I basically mean go trade sideways enough to not continue in this downtrend. But we'll see how it all goes. I don't think that this weakness is going to carry on for much longer. But fundamentals, nothing's changed. This is just kind of interesting to look at how everything's shaping up. Looking at fundamentals right here, some on-chain stuff you can see from Glassnode. Total volume of Bitcoin held by long-term holders reached a new all-time high of 80.5% of the circulating BTC. And the breakdown supply is 71% in profit, 9.4% in loss, and 19.5% in short-term holders. So when they say long-term means less likely to sell, short-term is what's being traded on the market basically every day. So when you talk about buying Bitcoin in big amounts, you could only buy this 19.5% until you have to explode the price to try and get some long-term holders to sell. But that's basically all you can do if you want to buy Bitcoin that way. It's getting to a point where it's very hard, or going to be getting very hard, to be buying large sums of Bitcoin. The peaks of long-term holders, 54 to 56%, 58%, 67.6%, and typically what we see is that during when there's a lot of long-term holders, that's not the top of the market. Holders or long-term holders sell into strength, so that's this rally. You can see a huge rally in price. This was 2017. Long-term holders draw down, and the lowest point was the highest point of the market, and then they come back up, and this ended up selling back down again. This was like the COVID scare and all that, and then rocketed back up here. And then you see even in this trend, they sell into strength when we saw this rally to 65K, sell into strength, and now coming back in hard. But usually this happens over a much longer period of time, not over a few months. So just judging strictly off of long-term holders and, how the charts look when going into strength is when you see long-term holders dip, and right now we're not seeing it dip. So we could be looking at like a floor type thing, or the nearing around where prices are going to kind of stabilize until like demand spikes again, or there's a huge FOMO or anything like that, or more adoption news, another country launches Bitcoin stuff. That's when we can start seeing bigger moves. But like, this isn't trends you see at peaks of markets or anything like that. And we got Citi coming out saying Bitcoin could be the chosen currency for international trade. That makes, complete sense to happen because of Bitcoin's liquidity, its global nature, its ability to be borderless and easily, tradable, easily to send it across borders. That's just not easy to do with fiat. So it makes sense that they would be currency for international trade. But you see just a huge flip in what all of these analysts and people before were all anti-Bitcoin, hated it. It's a scam, Ponzi, all this stuff, and now all of a sudden it's, this could be currency for international trade. It's no longer talking about it being a scam or talking about how it's terrible for people and it's going to go to zero. They've flipped the switch and now it's more positive stuff. And that doesn't change for even people like Morgan Stanley bags over 58,000 GBTC shares as Bitcoin price shakes. So this is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It's like where institutions are going to kind of buy Bitcoin, but not directly buy Bitcoin. So Morgan Stanley, again, another hater from Bitcoin from before, now has 58,000 BTC share or GBTC shares. So do as they do, not as they say. Obviously, maybe they have some bad news talking about Bitcoin, trying to bring the price down so they can buy more at cheaper prices. But buying 58,000 of these shares shows what their big intention is thinking Bitcoin's something that is going to be massive and they want to be involved in it. And you can see right here, talks in a recent development, the bank acquired those 58,000 shares. It had previously owned some shares of the trust, including 28,289 shares bought earlier in 2021. The latest addition is increased the number of shares that the bank holds across many portfolios. So they are increasing their exposure, increasing the amount of shares they have, and exposure to Bitcoin. I mean, does that even have to say anything? Short term, anything can happen to the price. Who knows? Long term, fundamentals look great. On chain looks great. Giant companies are getting involved, and we're even seeing countries across the world starting to get more involved. Where we obviously have El Salvador, you have Paraguay, the Ukraine. You have a bunch of Middle America companies starting to really run on it and starting to bring it as a topic of discussion for them to start using in their country. So the adoption of Bitcoin's through the roof. The only thing that you can try and be bearish on is the chart of Bitcoin itself. And look at the margin leverage data we see here. It's kind of the longs pretty much in the same space, starting to tick up, while shorts are still on the downtrend. So, I mean, you can see on this chart, we saw this huge just collapse in longs, and we're seeing it start to tick up now and start to kind of establish an uptrend from this point right here. But even the shorts you see are still on this downtrend, even from, the 24th. So even 4 days ago, still on this downtrend. So maybe pointing to markets thinking that, the price isn't going to be able to be pushed down much lower. This 41,000, maybe 42-ish level is around, where the market thinks it can be pushed down to. Maybe a little bit lower. Like, there are still shorts here, obviously, but the downtrend in shorts is like less confidence in shorts, uptrend in longs, more confident going long for Bitcoin. And just a quick reminder of what Bitcoin really is for is that 40% of all dollars in circulation were created in the last year. That is an insane stat. That just money is nothing. Money doesn't exist. The dollar is fake. It's just something to be money, and they can just create as much of it as they want, whenever they want, however they want. It doesn't matter. They can just turn the money printer on, start printing, pump asset prices. That includes Bitcoin, crypto, stock market, real estate, prop all that up with printed money. And the only thing that tears down is people's savings and people who don't have assets, which is 45% of Americans. So Bitcoin is doing, fine in every aspect besides its price chart if you are staring at that. But long term is where the price chart and TAs aren't going to matter. Long term is where fundamentals, the on chain stuff, adoption, that's where that kicks in and matters. So thinking in terms of days is not how you think of Bitcoin. It's not going to be the best way to think of it. Thinking in terms of years is going to be much more productive, and history shows that that is more productive with Bitcoin. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.